calm down, cause he just wanna learn something, so I teach him something. I am the one that teach
Call
him.
me 10 wins and 20.
I'm not getting any, actually.
Yeah, I need to be able to hear you better. So I've got loads of fans because I vape a lot.
I need to start, man. I'm actually lighting up a cigarette right now.
I didn't think you like a normal cigarette without anything in it. I didn't think you were a smoker. I thought you were much more healthy than that.
I started like a year and a half ago. Funny enough. Smoking
Welcome to the
shit
Flat
like
Earth
quitting
Clown Show.
alcohol and stuff, and I kind of fell off the map there.
Yeah. I used to drink a lot. I don't know whether I've ever told anybody this, but I used to a lot, and especially when I was like guys in my life, like whether it be in between jobs or breakdowns, there's times in my life where I'd have like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks of pretty day, and then nice, you know. That it is a solvent, and it basically every time you put it into your body, you just you're slowly poisoning yourself, and that's the buzz that you get off it. Find that balance between not poisoning yourself enough to put yourself in hospital, but then it's weird. It's weird, and then when you go on a binge, an alcohol binge, like your body rejects it, so you. And that's where all the sweats come from and everything.
Yep.
And
that's where the hangovers come from too.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier without it, man. I'm the kind of personality to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going out with a friend and we're gonna have one beer. That's not me. So I had to completely stop.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm the same. Like I'm around for a dinner party and there was alcohol on tap. I would just have to say no. I'm not having any, because if once I start, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not so bad these days, but going back a couple of few years, it was out of control.
Well, it's all about how you use it. Like some people, I enjoy the taste of this, and I have one. But some people are like, euphemism, and that is with any drug, and that's why I'm trying to quit weed. Actually, I like 2 days sober, but it's like I have to feel something to be happy, and I can't have that anymore in my life, man.
Yeah, well, you could. I mean, I've lots of different addictions all his life, and at one stage he got into the health side of it, but unfortunately he met some people down the gym that he got really healthy and really fit and lost loads of weight, stopped drinking, and when he did have a drink, it was only things like spirits, urged by people who, and he got addicted to testosterone in the end, like so.
Wow.
Yeah.
You switch one bad thing for another. That's never good.
No, that's how a lot of people get over addictions, you know, especially like heroin addicts. They get onto Oxycontin and stuff like that, and they switch. They spend the rest of their life just switching between.
But then it's like some of these drugs. It's like you then, as you like the natural high is almost taken away. From, you know, like going in endorphins and stuff like that. It's not near what heroin or Oxycontin is. So it's just like then like an extreme high that you'll never experience again. And that's where a lot of people go wrong.
Yeah, like when I first started using MDMA, I was in my late teens and I was constantly looking for that high again. Through my early 20s, and I never found it because it was that like first few times that being, you know, not having it in your system, not experiencing it. But
well, even worse, it's like when you're doing it, then you're like taking more and more just to even try to feel the same.
Yeah. When I was 18, I was doing, instead of doing like half a pill I was doing like 5 pills in over the course of an evening. So I was chasing me that I'd already experienced.
That's something though, like LSD and ecstasy. Like I can actually go to a rave or whatever, take whatever, not want to do it or not crave it or anything like that. So that's kind of weird about me, truthfully. But the last time Yvette came, she had tore up, dude, on bars and Adderall at the same time. And literally the next day, dude, I literally felt like my chest was caving in. I literally was like almost suicidal, like that. Not like I'm gonna go kill myself, but like I was just like so worried for no fucking reason, dude.
Of course, you know what it is. You're only like a couple or a few years younger than me, but once you get into your as quickly as it could do when I notice it now. If I was to go on a bit of a bender or whatever, whether it be alcohol or anything else, then it takes me nearly twice as long to recover, where it would normally maybe be a day and a half to 3 days. It's more like 3 days to 5 days now, and it's only going to get worse as I get older.
It's going to get worse. Yep.
Yeah, unless I fight it with, which I'm strongly considering doing now that I'm 5. I'm strongly considering getting back into proper fitness, and
nice.
Cycling again and going to the gym and looking after, because I want to fight this aging thing as long as I can. Do you know what I mean? I don't once I'm in my 50s, but when I'm in my 30s and 40s, I want to try and prolong my youth as much as possible.
I'm starting to. I don't feel old, but I know that I'm getting older, and I'm like, damn, I got to do something.
Yeah.
Mostly like right now, because I mean, even you're like basically in your prime, like your muscles and your baby muscles are gone. You can actually grow like adult muscle, and so like right around our age is actually we're prime, but I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you think about what's been going on?
It's all with a lot of people rise up to the characters involved, that they are not exactly, they've got the intentions that they said they had, and people are starting to highlight the cult-like behaviours. I mean, even 3chan now last night, I noticed that their theme of their talking was, that they don't want to be involved in this cult-like mentality of some of the flat earthers. Seeing that they're always going to have their loyal, keen followers, but I think they're, they're, a lot of their covers are blown now with their intentions in it full.
Yeah, man. I mean, people want to, and get out, and then there's others that just want to go proselytize. They just literally want to go and what was possible to get reason. It's been beyond being. At this point, I mean, it should be obvious to some people that, if this was the truth, they're not really doing the greatest job of hiding it.
Yeah.
I think. I've always thought that.
Well, if it was the truth as well, then what's going on with the media coverage isn't doing anything to serve it, to make it get taken seriously. I think it's failing on so many different levels now. That I don't believe whether it be making a regular income out of it over the years that it goes on for. on the internet, or just for popularity, or just for something. The internet social side of it, to feel like that their life has some kind of purpose. Yeah.
It's been pushed since the beginning, this whole kind of like, oh, we're family and we need to spread the truth and all this stuff. That's too seriously. And really, at the end of the day, even if it was, who really cares, man? I mean, but at the same time, well, if everybody knew, then what's going to change? And part of this is like, oh, we're going to topple regimes, we're going to topple the government and stuff. It's like, no, you're not.
No.
YouTube that on the majority don't really know what you're talking about. Like if I go on to a show and I ask just, hey, what do you think about the two celestial poles? About pictures, man. Because this is this and other things are just huge problems for the flat Earth, and it's like dude, because let's go back to the globe and debunk the globe. That's my whole thing. Because there's a bunch of presuppositions and, oh, there's no way that you're standing sideways to me right now. It's like, okay, well, other logical made about the.
Yeah.
So I mean, this 501c3 with it is just, I don't know, man.
Well,
that's crazy to me.
I think you're right. I think they would be, thinking about it logically, they would be much better off spending their time to trying to debunk the globe, the claims that are already in existence, rather than trying to come up with theories and maps and models that clearly don't have any sense to them. They don't work when they're scrutinized by like yourself or other people who haven't got a set side either way. Do you know what I mean? That are objective with looking at things. And as far as the flat Earth core thing, I mean, like they are trying to set up a possible collaboration of people in order to get a regular income out of it. That's the only logical thing that I can think, so that they're looking like 2 or 3 or 5 years down the line, build it to a point where it's generating, and they can all do it full time. It can be something that
we cannot pay ourselves and we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, actually, we can pay ourselves, and saying something about 130 pounds now. Obviously, dude. Obviously, it's about getting paid. Gonna do, and I understand. That all of the money is to this whole group already. And when they laser gyro for a year or more, that it would show for hours. But then they get one and it does, and they just say it's ether. So this is the type that we're going to do, where we thought it wasn't going to show it, but now it does, and it's actually not the spin of the Earth; it's just the ether. And
But for people who are that much in denial, do you think it's a case of they have got something invested in this, so they're denying it on purpose, or do you think it's a mental thing that they're not prepared to mentally admit that they've been totally wrong? Like, do you think it's a bit of both of that, depending on who it is?
A lot of thing that goes into this whole thing with the psychology and the sociology of it, but I think for the most part, what I've been able to determine is a huge conspiratorial bias, and when somebody has that, they really just want to self-confirm their already confirmation bias on the subject. So that's why people like me are just absolutely hated besides some of the things that I did like years ago or whatever. I don't do any of that kind of stuff anymore. But they just they love the idea of it. They love the conspiracy of it being something that we were, told it's not. So I just, and it makes me wonder, where is this going? Like, I think that, like you said earlier, some of the facade is kind of being examined by some of the people within it, and that's what really needs to happen. I've tried to tell people I can't prove anything to anyone. I can show you evidence, but ultimately proving something is upon yourself.
Yeah.
Be able to unbiasedly look at the information, and they are just not able to. They have a lot of misconceptions in their head that validates their confirmation bias, and they continue to say them even if they don't know that it's true or not. Video on Dell right now, because he's just a hypocrite, man. He says at the beginning of the show, videos and pictures cannot be evidence of anything, basically. It then goes on to say that there's tons of video and pictures of the flat Earth, basically. So I sent him an email yesterday. I sent him one this morning. I said, hey, there's a person named Matrix Decode. He was a flat earther for 2 years. This is his last video. Can you explain this? What exactly is this? Emily's live video that he did yesterday of the causeway, where I was saying maybe it wasn't live, maybe it was, and then I actually looked back at it. He was taking people's word in the chat and actually doing it with the camera at the same time. So do a barrel roll. Okay, let me do a barrel roll with the camera. So it absolutely was live. It's like something that's just completely pushed to the side. And it used to be that water is flat and there is absolutely no curvature, but now there's go out and do these observations and cannot be justified in any way. I'm trying to ask people, where is a video with zero curvature over a long distance? Because that's what you would expect. But what we see is that there is curvature, there is obstruction, and it's a daily thing. It's something that you can see daily. Everyone can. And it needs to be observable, it needs to be repeatable. Well, I've talked about the stars for a long time. They basically stay the exact same depending on your latitude and longitude. And how is that not repeatable? Well, we don't know what they are. Okay, well, how does the composition have anything to do with making of the circular star trails? It's just every excuse that they can do to make this right. And it's so patently false that, that's why I've been around. It's like, dude, it's tough to see people go through this. It's tough to see people like Dell watching Eric Dubay, taking it as gospel, and then going on for years and years saying that this, it's 100% not a sphere, and come on to prove that it's a sphere to me. Well, you've already said that it's 100% not a sphere. What is the point? And just today, like I said, I was going back in emails with him, and I said, hey, I'll come on and can we talk about this? But no, he says this is an open platform on his show today, but I'm not allowed on it. And the last chat that we had, it was a good chat. I said, I'm not going to mess with you. I'm not going to snipe you, whatever. Emailing that no curve at GMX saying, hey, with my email saying, hey, this is Tim Osman, if Dell wants me on or whatever. And they don't want it because Dell knows deep down that he can't justify his claims to people like me and Jim Panda. If you watched the Flat Earth debate, like 11 or 13, I think, where he jumped on and started talking to Jim Panda, I mean, he can't do it. I poured water onto a ball, therefore the oceans are all flat. Like, that's not logic.
No, it's the sort of thing that you would do in your garden. It's a very rudimentary thing that doesn't really prove anything.
Yeah, dude.
Even when I was on there in the early days of it, and I brought up the Mount Rainier, or I don't know how to pronounce it, Mount Rainier, and then as the sun is setting, the angle of the light hits the mountain, which then casts a shadow on the cloud coverage at the top of the mountain.
Ooh, nice.
That would be absolutely impossible if the sun was disappearing at the same level out of perspective, because the rays of light hitting it and then casting the shadow upon. and he couldn't explain it at the time, and he never has done. So that's a really good one for them to stump them.
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be covered up with some ad hoc reasoning, like, atmospheric lensing or whatever. But yeah, it's this whole charade of just basically people that have fallen for it, and people that are followers and follow people like Bell because of his rhetoric. And it has always bothered me because it just doesn't seem to be the truth, and people go around and spit it as it,
Well, me too. Now, more so much nowadays. I mean, what I'm more interested in doing in the foreseeable future, however long this goes on for, is to call out the blatant lies and the deception. The people that are in this that are purposefully, on purpose, knowingly lying and deceiving on whatever level, whether it be about flat earth information, whether it be about the ways that they manipulate each other, the games that they play. That's what I'm into. I don't care whether they're flat earthers or not. Whoever is purposefully, knowingly lying to everybody regularly about anything in this, I would like to carry on highlighting it, and I don't care if people ignore me or it doesn't reach lots of people. That's what, because I mean, if I have been if I have been part of facilitating this lie, then I want to do something now to make up for that. Do you know what I mean? Like I would like to get things back on track with reality. So that's where I'm personally at with things. Like I just want to, especially some of the bigger lies that people are doing, the games that they're playing. I wish to highlight them, and there's shitloads. You must admit, there's shitloads of nonsense going on. There's no shortage of it.
It's quite amazing, actually. And if you notice, as I bowed out a little bit over the past 3-4 months or whatever, they've been starting to actually attack each other, because that's kind of what it's about. It's if you've ever noticed that any of the videos that have high amount of views, it's usually someone calling someone out, like all the Tiger Man videos and stuff like that have huge amounts of views because the people that are watching actually like the drama.
Yeah, they do.
And they've actually told me, a lot of even the flat earthers in Dell's chat want me to come on and do that, because that was the most exciting thing of the show, where Dell would come back on and start yelling and being pissed. Like, it's not about at all.
I know. Yeah, I know. They use this drama thing. Like, the thing is, a lot of it is being propagated by themselves anyway to create a scene, to create a buzz and entertainment, basically. And you're quite right. I mean, if I was to do a very kind of monotone, calm video explaining what was wrong, it would hardly get any views. But if I was to use a bit of passion and excitement, mention a few names, and then give some information out that not many people know about people, then it would attract shitloads more views, which tells me that people aren't really there for the information. A lot of them are there to be entertained because they've got nothing else better to do.
Yep, and then that feeds into people like Dell, where he's like, I got 340 people watching, and he's like, I must be onto something, but really, he's on something because of his work. He's on something because he goes after people, and that's what those people want to hear. Rhetoric towards the globe or whatever. And it's just this self-reciprocating cycle, basically, of, ego being fed, and then by the audience, and then the audience being entertained by the person that's ego being fed. So it's just this cycle that keeps going on. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know where my channel is going, to be honest. I mean, I've never really been one for focusing on building things up or anything. I just like to do what I do, and I don't really have an agenda. But I mean, if the agenda is anything, it's to try and find the truth of the matter. And if I have to eat some humble pie to find that truth, and I'm prepared to do it. And if I have to upset some people to the point where, I mean, at the moment, I'm pretty much not welcome in a heck of a lot of the Flat Earth channels now. Like, even all my soccer accounts are banned. Yeah. So, yeah, because basically before I had my month break, when I was helping my family out, I did a live stream, and I basically categorically said, you know, on my own to camera that the Earth is not flat. It isn't. And obviously, to try and soften the blow a bit, I said literally, as in, like, you know, it's not literally flat, guys. And that got me, you know, that did an awful lot for my reputation. And because I categorically stated that I'm not one of them. Like, and this is like, I didn't realize that the cult-like mentality was so prevalent and strong in this, to the point where if you start saying, even if it's literally that the Earth isn't flat, then you know you've burnt your bridges.
I went to Poncho's for like, I don't know, 3 minutes yesterday, and I heard Vinny talking about Christruthseeker or something like that. And I was like, what the hell? What happened there? Like,
yeah,
all of these people, even you saying, you know, to Dread the other day, just instant ban, dude, just done.
Yeah.
You know, you even though you've been around, you've helped the chats, you've done this and that for Flat Earth. Once you go against the grain of the cult, and I'm glad that you're out, man.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, like, it did. I'm not going to lie to you, even though, like, it is a bit immature. It did hurt my feelings to begin with.
Yeah.
But
because you put in time, dude. It's not immature. You put in a bunch of, you know, effort.
Thinking about it logically, I couldn't give a shit. Do you know why? Because, like, these people aren't fucking real. Then a lot of them aren't real. Yeah. Like with Vincent, what he ended up doing, just really briefly, because this isn't about me offloading a load of shit onto you. So what happened was, before I went away, like, basically my stepdad was dying, and I had to help my family out because my mum's got nobody else, and they live together. So I deleted a load of people off Skype and Hangouts, and I left loads of groups and stuff because I knew that I didn't want the fucking notifications on my phone. I was going to be busy, and I couldn't do it anymore for the amount of time I was putting in. And then when I came just before I went away, I said that the Earth wasn't flat. So when I came back, I went into Pete's channel and I was chatting and stuff, and I noticed I'd had my wrench removed, and I thought, oh, that's a bit strange. And then between him and FBV, they then went on, and this is only me suspecting, and they sniped their own channel and then framed me for doing it. Also, what else they did? They started basically saying that I'd been colluding, because Yvette started emailing me when we got back on at least amicable communications. And I left all the emails in my inbox, and I was sharing my screen with Vincent, and he saw all the emails. So in his twisted head, he thought that in the background I was, like, having this collusion with Yvette, when I wasn't. Like, I could bring up the emails, and there was nothing like colluding going on. So, and then also FPV, that guy is not very bright, honestly. You can outwit him very, very easily. He's also got access to Cat's Eye's account. So some of the time, especially a few months ago, you know, when Cat's Eyes was basically moderating nearly every chat box, it wasn't just her that was doing it. It was him as well on her account. Yes. So because he also knew that I had information on him about when Cat's Eyes came to me and said that he was harassing her, following her around and being abusive to her. He got in there first whilst I was away. In the month that I was away, he poisoned as many people as he could against me, and then colluded with Vincent. It's a long story, but basically that's what damaged the relationship. And also at the time, the whole Candy thing, like Candy said that he was totally in love with Vincent. And she wasn't. She didn't even like him, you know, and she was basically saying this to a few different people in the background in order to plead poverty to them, to extract handouts from them. And in the course of it, she got around about just under $3,000 from Vincent alone, $700 off Karen B, about $200 or $300 off a guy called Mr. Anderson, and some more. I think it was a couple of $100 or $300 off Mr. THC. So all these people, in order to pay her rent. Antonio said, "This is fucking not on," and then because Vincent is still in this emotional, fantastical relationship with Candy, he took it as a slight on her. Oh, it's so fucked up, man. It's just so fucked up. So he took her side because he can't admit to himself that she just basically lied to him to extract money out of him. So all this shit happened. So then they turned against me, and Tony. Oh, it's so fucking silly. It's really silly. But yeah,
it's weird, man. But it took all of this happening really for you to probably, in my opinion, straighten out a bit. Like I said, we all have gone crazy over this whole idea, and nowadays it's like, obviously, me and you can have a chat. There's no animosity. I don't care to be right about anything that I've ever said. What I care about is people just realizing what it is, for what it is. Like it's, people are claiming that the Earth is flat, and they don't have any evidence for it, but they pretend like they do, and they ensnare many just kind of conspiratorial, biased, kind of ignorant people for the most part about a very intricate topic. I mean, this is, we're talking about cosmology, cosmogony, we're talking about geodesy. Some of these things people have been doing for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and still don't know everything about it. So it's this kind of hubris that people have here that kind of feeds itself or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I feel myself every day now being more and more against Flat Earth and what it stands for as it starts to evolve into what it's evolving into. And, and first and foremost, I'm here to try and find the truth of the matter. And anybody else who's purposefully not doing that or doing and saying things to try and trick people or get money out of them or make them be dogmatic or make them get in touch with God, then I really do want to call them out. And I want to do the best job I possibly can do in order to, to have some valid points and some impact. Because I can't stand liars and I can't stand lying, especially when it's people who are doing it knowingly or are doing it on purpose to gain something out of it.
Yeah, it's just, it's your, like we used to be what I would call, quote unquote truthers or whatever. And that's why people don't understand me very well. It's like, well, I was somebody that, was supposedly spitting the truth, and now I'm just supposed to shut up about something that seems very blatantly false to me. No, and then just like you're saying, some of these people are trying to make money and trying to make it a business, and that's just it. There's moral issues. Even if you're a flat earther or a sphere earther, there should be some moral issues here.
Yeah.
Because once you make it a business, in my opinion, all objectivity goes out the window. Because if Jaron tomorrow says the Earth is a sphere, he's going to piss off a lot of his followers. So he's got to continue this narrative so that he gets paid.
Yeah.
Period.
Of course he does. Yeah, and he's got he's not so much nowadays since he lost his house and that, but he has actually still got quite an expensive lifestyle, I imagine, for where he lives, and the fact that he's got a teenage son, although he's probably older now and he's probably got a job. But at some point, I'm pretty sure that his wife's going to want a baby, and that's not going to be cheap. And a couple of things about Jaron, he never, in the early days of his Jaronism chat site, and I can categorically say this to you, he never once came to me privately, sent me an email or sent me a Skype message or anything like that, and thanked me for moderating his chat site for all that time, nor did he ever individually thank me for moderating Glowbusters. He did collectively, and Bob did, but he actually never did. And he's quite dominant over his wife. When you hear some of his earlier Raw shows, like I listened to about 10 or 15 of his first ever 15 Truth Frequency shows. So I mean, the man has definitely got his flaws, and also I've heard stories of him. When he's been contacted by geodesists and other professionals, he just blatantly ignores them. He will not communicate with them. So
yeah, they call them trolls automatically. So I want to read this to you because me and him have been going back. I told him I don't want to talk to him anymore, and so he sends me a huge message. So do you know Globebusters makes about $170 a month now? My channel gets the fuck beat out of it because it's not suitable. So that's $500 a month, and I have a Patreon at $800 a month. That's $1,500 a month, and my rent is $1,800. Total bills are $3,000. I am working 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and later 7 days a week, be it on my YouTube stuff and bookstore. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why he's really telling me all this, truthfully, but I don't know what to say to that. It's like, okay, well, like I said, you've made a business out of it. Congratulations, and you're going to continue this narrative to continue to get that money. So I don't know, man.
What's he trying to prove to you, that it's not as successful as he wants it to be? Is that what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. He says I quit on good terms. A 14-year store manager career making $91,000 a year, working 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. 6 days a week, working 72 hours and hating it. Now I'm working 110 hours a week and making barely enough to live. So shut your effing mouth. You think I'd do this for $1,500 a month? I could get rehired at CVS or Walgreens tomorrow, be making $30 an hour. So, it's like, am I supposed to feel bad for him that he's not doing as much as he could, or he's not making enough to pay his $3,000 a month in bills? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, I mean, that'll just be with Jaren. He'll only give you the information which will suit him. I dare say that he'll have other. He didn't mention how much his online bookstore was generating, and I'm pretty sure that Missa at least does something to generate some kind of income. Whether it be a small business or she can't just do nothing. Is what I'm getting at. So I'm pretty sure he'll only be telling you the information which will suit to give you the impression he wants to give you, which is that that this isn't doing him any favors.
Yeah, I mean, there's really he's got 82,000 subs. I'm obviously Tim Osman, and really he doesn't need to respond to me at all, but he finds it necessary to tell me all this garble here for me to feel bad or something. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a narrative he's pushing on me, and I don't care, dude. I don't care. It's just they can't explain anything. And I got him a year and a half ago saying that the stars work on the sphere, and then of course he's made several videos since then saying that it doesn't. But then it does, and it does, and it does. It does. It's like I just don't know anymore, man.
Well, what
ridiculous.
What they'll say to that is, at the time when I said that, they'll say something diplomatic like my opinion has evolved or my knowledge has grown. They'll spin it in some way in order to justify why they got it completely wrong, whether it be on purpose or not in the first place.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that shows dishonesty right there.
Yeah. At least on the level of accepting information, whether it's going to contradict your narrative that you're pushing or not. I mean, it really does seem to me like a heck of a lot of people that are in prominent positions in the flat Earth now do not have the agenda of finding out what the truth is and the original intent, which was uncovering massive lies. It just doesn't seem like that anymore. In fact, it seems more and more like people have got all sorts of different agendas, and I think one of the main things is to basically evolve this into, as you said, I think it was you. It was either you or somebody, a cash cow conspiracy. Was
About
it
it
you?
being a religion?
No, basically to turn it into something that is going to generate a regular income. And obviously there are people that what's his name, Pillbox. He is very much of the mentality where I think that he's in this to find some way in order to turn people to God, in order to, try and tie the flat earth in and save as many people as possible. I think his agenda there is to God rather than
it's his whole agenda is absolutely counterintuitive, because people like him, I'm not religious, I'm totally open to everything. I love learning about all kinds of stuff, but when I see Christians act the way that they do, and mostly him and that channel, the Flat Out Elected, I want nothing to do with Christianity, because if I get in that kind of a dogmatic state, where I don't know if you know, and so he's going, Pillbox is going around saying that he's reported Jason Carl Hornsby to the missing children, whatever.
Right.
And so he's it's like, do you think he actually did that? Because I don't. And I think that, the whole Bible is like, mostly the Ten Commandments, where, you're sitting there lying. Like I told him, you need to repent for this, because you're sitting there lying. I know for a fact that I would never porn bomb Eli. I've been going back and forth with her about this, actually.
Well, somebody did it, and they either were or they pretended to be Lottie, one of Lottie's accounts. So they could have been.
Is it Lottie or Daniel Reza? I heard it was Daniel Reza.
No. I watched it live, and the account that flashed up, the last one that flashed up before it went to the blue default avatar, was Lottie. But it doesn't mean it was Lottie. It could have been somebody who'd cloned Lottie's account to look like it was Lottie doing it.
No, I know who it was. Well, within 3 people, because somebody on that was listening, saying, oh, you porn bomb, whatever. And I was like, don't bring that up here. I was just live, and don't say that kind of stuff. And actually, yesterday I banned them both. I kicked them both, because people that do this and don't care that I get blamed for everything, and I get death threats, and I get all this kind of stuff because of what they do, they're no friend of mine at all. I don't want to talk to them. And I've told them there's something of, being justified in going against some of these people, and then there's people like Eli that are the most innocent, sweet-hearted woman that there's no point. So I tried to tell them about ethical trolling. Be a little more ethical. Have a little more justification for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And,
there's no doubt that you've been framed for a lot of stuff that you haven't done. I mean, I see that now. I didn't see that a few months ago, because I didn't experience what it was like to have an account cloned of yours, and then it go into a chat box and say really, really nasty things to people, and then have the backlash. So I know that can work. Like, obviously, all you'd need to do really was to download. Well, you know how it works. To clone an account, you just download an avatar, you get the link, and then you just don't say anything. You go on, you make sure that avatar pops up, then you swipe the panel, then you go off. And that gives the impression that it was that avatar that did it. And for anybody else who doesn't know anything about how it can be easily done, they're just going to assume. So, not
only that, I mean, these people assume that it's me in the chat with a 0 subscriber fake account of mine. So I know that that's true. If somebody sees my account pop up right before it's bombed, they're going to definitely think it's me if they think that the 0 sub chatter is me. It's like, this was something I went over 2 years ago. Hey, guys, check the accounts. If it's Globebusters or Jaronism or whatever, go and just go look at the channel, because there's going to be subs, there's going to be a bunch of videos, and you're going to be able to know that it's them. I don't come on with Tim Osman's sock accounts to chats with 0 subs with my main account. I actually I don't go to anywhere that I'm banned on anymore, because I'm just like, if you're going to ban me, I'm not going to give you a view. I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. So, yeah, it's
It's getting like that for me now. Like I am getting to the point where there's just I'm thinking, is there actually any point trying to address some of these inconsistencies? Is it I'm thinking to myself, is it really that far gone now? But then for some reason I find myself still making videos and trying to facilitate the truth. So
Same here.
I can't answer yet why I'm still here, like, and doing this.
Me neither. Trust me. I just said that to Jim Panda yesterday. So why are we still doing this, man? You know, he's on a panel of somebody that's like saying Eric Dubé proofs 1.0. I'm like, what, dude? Why am I listening to this? Why are you there on the panel? And my reasons change like daily. But it is at the heart of it that, you know, I still have this like truther thing, and I want to, you know, say the truth. And I don't find any truth in the flat Earth. I actually find it in the spherical model that we were prescribed. So that's why I've been so vehement about it and very static, very consistent with everything that I say. I've learned a lot about people and about the globe and all this kind of stuff. And really, I just tried to share it. But, you know, at the beginning, I can definitely agree that my tact was reprehensible, I guess you could say, almost.
So was mine, though. On the other end of the spectrum, I used to ban anybody from Globebusters that would have a dissenting opinion because I thought that was the right thing to do. So I've got my mistakes as well on the other end of the spectrum where, like, not only was I censoring people, but I wasn't even letting people have their say if they were being reasonable and polite. It was just I was banning them because they were having dissenting opinions, which wasn't in congruence with the cult-like stats.
The dissent is automatically, no matter how nice you are, no matter what name or whatever you come on, the dissent is deemed as trolls. So everybody that's a globe head or whatever is a troll, even if they come on and say, hey, you know, there are two celestial points, man. It doesn't work on the flat Earth, any flat Earth model. Yeah. Oh, he's a troll. I mean, that is the cult-like mentality at its finest, where you shun out everybody else that has differing opinions, that is even being nice to you about it. And it is turning into this kind of like Scientology or some kind of a cult of really it's all conspiracy theorists, man. I've never met a flat earther. I thought Nathan Oakley was one, but I've never met a flat earther that didn't have conspiracy already under his belt. So like a person that was just completely, you know, asleep was woken up to the flat earth. It's not like that, because we both know that this term, these two words together, are loaded. So that was part of the problem, coming out and saying the earth is flat. Well, hey, you know, you probably could have come out and said, maybe it's a plane, maybe it's this, you know, we got to figure it out. We don't see any curvature. We don't see water bending on a globe. We don't understand gravity, all this kind of stuff. But it was pitched as the earth is flat. And then they have to justify that and continue to.
That's one of the. I tried to highlight that to them, and they didn't like that either. That basically calling it flat Earth right from the beginning did a detriment to the whole more pure intention. Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah. It's like, you know, hindsight is 2020. Obviously, I think a lot of flat earthers, if you would ask them, they probably would have taken a different approach. But it was just like, and you understand how it's devolved into this infinite regression, basically, where we used to be about going out, you know, John LeBon's show, all this kind of stuff, going out, figuring this out objectively, going out, doing experiments, stuff like this. Even though that's still kind of pitched, it's not really what the flat Earth is about anymore. It really is about the drama and the conspiratorial bias and confirming that bias for the people that believe it, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, in 2 or 3 years' time, where do you see this getting to? Like, do you know, a lot of the people in the flat Earth kind of think that this could be a key to awakening humanity or changing the world and changing people, and the world will be better once everybody knows the Earth is flat. I mean, how long do you think it's going to be before people have spent 2, 3, 4 years hearing that over and over again, and then, like, being honest with themselves, not actually seeing it outside of the circle?
Dude, it's all about supply and demand. So if a bunch of people do figure it out, that are the true believers, that do go and watch this content, do go and do the Patreon, all that kind of stuff, if they started to figure that out more and more, then I think some of these top charlatans would definitely stop what they're doing. But as long as there's an audience, they're going to continue with it because, like I said, they're making a business out of it. So in 2 or 3 years, I mean, I can't see anything different. I can see, maybe Dell coming on doing the same thing he's done for the past 2 years, saying the same things, and that is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And I feel bad for him. I've tried to help him, but the dogmatism that this subject brings is unbelievable. I think that's part of the reason why I'm still here, is because I can't quite put my finger on what's going on here. It's absolutely fascinating to watch the echo chamber grow, dude. It is, man. It's crazy. Makes no sense.
I know what you're saying. I can't definitively put it into a paragraph what is actually going on here, because it's some of it I'm still not sure on enough to have enough conviction to condense it down that much. But yeah, I think that is one of the reasons why I'm still here, because it is in some ways it is so fascinating looking at the whole dynamics of this situation.
Yeah. But look, I've said before also that, like these, a lot of people like to watch the drama shows. And obviously when you're on our side of the fence, we understand that that's all completely scripted. But we can get on the internet and watch real people go after each other with absolutely just ridiculous reasons. And I mean, it's entertaining. It's entertaining to see these people go after each other and stuff. So I think that's part of it. It is a real life reality show. It's not scripted. I mean, it could be to a small extent, but it's not as far as the reactions of the people in the chat or the reactions of the people on the panel. It's just, it's so amazing, dude. But you know what? Like I said before, I'm glad to hear that you're doing better. We do not need to say sorry to each other about anything. I think we're totally even. I think we're totally cool. Like I said before, I just want people to realize what you explained to me that you're not realizing, and then you take it where you want to take it. I don't need to tell you anything to do this or do that. You're going to do what your heart feels you need to do. And obviously that would have to do with, trying to spread the truth of the matter. So I would say, as a side note, I would suggest, because I'm trying to do it myself, is to get the fuck out, dude. To get out of this absolute madness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's like, who are you proving anything to? Like, what is the point of that? Like this is such a small niche on the internet. It's a niche of a niche. The conspiracy crowd is a niche. The flat earth is the niche of that niche. So it's like, it's just it doesn't matter on the grand scheme of things. And mostly if you figure out it's a sphere, you can sit back and just admire people still not getting it. I mean, just completely lost individuals who have an idea of what the world is, where they will fight for that idea and try to prove it till kingdom come. It's amazing.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I mean, like, if you don't try and at least have some input or some rationality occasionally, at least, on a subject, then you've got no say at all in it. And I think that there is something going on here that is significant and important. Just what that is still up for debate, whether it just only turns out to be me learning about people and how people can be, and the psychology of delusions and beliefs and evidence and proofs and reality and denying things.
That is very important, because if you can realize what other people are doing, you can help yourself from not falling into that same trap that they have done. So now you admitting and realizing that this is what's going on, you've now learned so much in terms of not falling into this trap again. Somebody comes out and says that the earth is the shape of a popcorn. Next time you're going to be like, you're going to be like, bullshit, dude,
Yeah. You must admit, though,
Right.
there is quite a lot of evidence against the globe. There's a lot of inconsistencies. So, I mean, it's not all kind of...
I haven't found any.
Not even one.
There are, no. I mean, there are things like, I don't feel myself spinning. Well, that's just, an opinion, and it's 0.0006 RPM, per hour, and, you think you would really feel that. And all of these things where basically we're put on this earth where there's only a few observations that we can logically deduce the shape of the earth. Just because we are so small on something so big, even if it's flat or it's round or whatever, we can all agree that the earth is very large comparatively. So there's only a few things that we can do. And that would be, taking geodetic surveying equipment out, observing the star rotations, seeing that the sun doesn't change in angular size throughout the day as you would expect it to due to perspective on a flat plane. All of these things seem to fit more with the narrative that we were given. That's where I'm at. But I do understand that, when we're talking about deep space, me and you will really never know the intricacies of that, because there's not much we can do as me and you to go and prove otherwise from what they're telling us. And it's like at that point, you almost have to ask, why would they be lying about this, like deep space or something like that,
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard that answered so many different ways, and I think one solution that I would personally have is being took up high enough to observe at least the resemblance of us being on a planet, on a spherical heliocentric planet with blackness and stars of space in one part of the window, and then seeing the curvature of the Earth. But the reality of that actually happening to me is very small. So I
know this is kind of a pipe dream, but you did ask about 2 or 3 years from now. I am interested to see they are really trying to get planes up there for people like me. Well, not people like me and you, people with money rather. Actually fulfill that quest that you just said.
Yeah.
So that would be very interesting. But you know what? I'm going to go back to what you said before. There are some things that I still have questions about, like a rocket going up. Why don't they show the whole rocket going into space? They're really, I've never seen a video where it's uncut of a rocket going into space. And I've asked, Globers that, and they're like, well, people have a short attention span and they just want to see the good bits of it. And I don't accept that answer. That is not a valid answer for why. Because it's like you have the cameras there. It would be very easy just to continue it rolling and not cut those parts out. And most flat earthers, even if that was fulfilled, would probably say that it's fake or CGI or whatever. But for me, it is something that is we don't have. And some of the other things are like, why can't we see a rocket from another rocket going into space? And it's like the logistics of some of the things that they propose are bizarre and they don't make any sense. But some things, it's just like the fucking flat earth card, dude. What does the flat earth card say? But they know something or something to that lines where...
So, I mean, saying that, do you think there's a possibility that they could be staging or faking some of the space or shuttle missions?
Yeah, absolutely.
When they send supplies up or they send a new person up and they could be, but would be as far as it goes.
I have problems though, because a lot of people say that there's no satellites, and it's like, hey, well, you can go to Red's Rhetoric, you can go to Slice Parkane, you can go to all these different people, even people not even in this whole discussion, and go and watch the ISS and other satellites transit the sun or the moon. So does that mean that they're on there? Absolutely not. But it does mean that there's something that does resemble the ISS up there. Mm-hmm. Period. So
yeah,
you have to
Mr. B's got something, hasn't he? Mr. B?
B. Yep. He's got some
Bukkake pies. Yeah.
Yep. Several people. So there's a lot of questions, but unfortunately, it's under the guise of a completely invalid inquiry. Where if we were questioning space and questioning NASA and satellites and all this kind of stuff, that would be a whole different inquiry than trying to prove that the Earth is flat. That the shape is very, very clear what it is. And that's why people like Jaron and all these other people go to these ad hoc or just kind of non sequiturs of talking about space and deep space. And it's like, hey, we're talking about the objective shape of the Earth. There are logical inferences that we can make, several of them, that seem to fit the sphere model much better. And we have to realize that there has been thousands of years, if not hundreds of years, of perfecting this model to where literally we can go on these stellariums and all this kind of stuff and see exactly, depending on our latitude and longitude. So at some certain point, you have to make the logical inference that if this can be mapped on a sphere, legitimacy, there has to be some credence taken to that, because it just, as of now, it cannot be mapped on a flat Earth. So 99 to 100. Go ahead.
Surely, though, I mean, if it was a model that was manufactured or fabricated, surely that would be enough time to get it right anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, but look, they're getting something right in that they can put actual physical locations on the Earth, as in latitude and longitude, and say you move 69 miles. Well, all of the stars are going to move 1 degree in your sky, depending on which direction you go. So at some certain point, what they have mapped out, as it is extremely accurate, 99 to 100% accurate, it gives it a little more credence than something that has basically no predictive capability at all. Not to say that the flat Earth couldn't, have predictive capability someday.
Well, to be honest with you, I've seen quite a few of the flat earthers take an inconsistency that is not directly related to actually proving the shape of the Earth, and then run with that, which then adds. So they're taking all these inconsistencies from different places, and this is what Bob often refers to as the preponderance of evidence. And then then they're putting it into a picture, and that picture seems to be that the Earth is flat, and it doesn't all quite seem to come to that conclusion. Because, I mean, like, there's no denying, for me, at least, there's some inconsistencies with a lot of the footage that comes, not a lot, but some of the footage that comes from the ISS. So,
yeah,
but
me too.
That doesn't, if they're actually faking or staging or layering stuff into them so-called live feeds, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Earth is flat. It just means that they could be possibly adding to or faking parts of the ISS footage.
Well, I've also proposed because I think that at the heart of it, this is some kind of a psychological operation. I think that if it is a psychological operation, it wouldn't be a far stretch for them to start making things look a certain way, so that conspiracy theorists will come and just pick at it and say, oh, this proves that it's something else. Just like the Vegas shooting, where it seems like all of this stuff is just inserted, that is complete conspiracy candy, like the 32nd floor, the 33rd floor, all of this different just kind of evidence that seems to not fit with this actual story, to where then you have the quote unquote sleeping people that just accept it, and then you have the other group of people that pick it apart, and they think that they're so prolific in that, oh, they did the 32nd floor or whatever, when really it could be that they, part of their psychological operation is to let the conspiracy theorists have some candy so that they go around and spread disinformation. And when we see this whole fake news and all this shit starting to pop up, and the flat Earth as well a couple years before, I feel that we're gonna figure out pretty soon what they're trying to do here with all of this.
Yeah, I was only saying to somebody recently that I honestly think that at the top of the flat Earth thing that's being kind of pushed on YouTube and the internet, and now a little bit in mainstream media, but definitely with people, there's some psychology involved, and I do think that there are some top level government psychologists paying attention to this subject.
Yeah.
If not, having at least some sort of input or effect over it. I really do. Just a team, and maybe one main at the top, but some real high level psychologists that are very
it's amazing because really all they have to do is pitch the idea, to a group of people. And those group of people, if they believe it, will continue to perpetrate it like we see. So really the initial idea needs to be inserted somehow by this possible psychological operation, and then just sit back and watch all these people fight for it. That's kind of what I think, because really with all of this mainstream media, and all of these, probable shills, man, Mark Sargent coming out and doing what he has done for years, and Patty doing the same thing. I really have a hard time thinking that they're legitimate in their intent. I think that there's something else going on, whether it be they want to be the next Alex Jones or David Icke or whatever. Who knows? Yeah. But it's not what they're putting on, in my opinion.
Right. So at the very least, you think there could be some ill intent on that level of they want some kind of standpoint in the conspiracy field or some job or some role in it, like a self-serving agenda in that way, for popularity, for status, to have some involvement in it.
Yeah, that's the only reason why they would bring a bunch of media and be the figureheads, when really these people don't represent the claim at all. Mark and Patty, they do not represent the whole community, and most people are starting to figure that out. But I mean, even these other people, the Pastor Dean Odell and the other religious guy that's Robbie Davidson. I mean, that guy probably walked away with $50,000 from putting on that whole thing. So do you think that if he walked away with 20 to 50 to 60 grand, that they're not thinking of continuing this cash cow? Because that's what it is. They got a niche. Yeah. People like Jaron got a niche.
So how come
go ahead.
How come people are not seeing that? Like, I mean, this is the thing that I struggle with. Are their morals over, or their, I mean, I know more and more people are, but there are still people that will go and attend that conference and support it by paying all the right funds and everything. Aren't they? How can they not see that basically somebody somewhere is making money out of this, and that always comes in to the equation and messes up any kind of pure intent that was anybody had in the first place?
They're not only blinded by the idea, they're also I wouldn't want to say re-indoctrinated, but there's always this kind of sentiment where it's always pushed where, well, we're doing good work here, we need money kind of thing, and I it's hard, man, because I know that the people that want to believe it, the true believers, will continue to believe it. And these people know that. They hold on to those people as hard as they can. And they'll walk on eggshells not to, piss off the religious people or piss off, the atheists or whatever. So it's this huge just mental gymnastics that they have to go through. To the extent, the money that they're making, that kind of money, I would never do anything like this for this. Yeah. I mean, it's just, get beyond that it's dishonest, but for the most part, just the amount of money and the shit that they have to deal with. I don't understand why a person like Patty, who's rich, needs to be around here.
I know, this is what I don't get either. I mean, she, like, the upkeep of her lifestyle must be, what, 3, 4, 5 grand a month?
At least, dude.
Maybe it's more.
At least, yeah.
So I don't understand. Like, even if she's from a lower end millionaire family, maybe it's a couple or a few million, and then the inheritance got passed down to the three of them. That inheritance would only last so long, and I know it's only about 3 or 4 years since her mother died. But I can't understand where she's been able to devote so much time and shows, and then still have the lifestyle that she has, and being able to lay out the money when she can. And
can you imagine how much she spent on that whole Antonio Subarats thing? I'm talking
about 15, 20 grand.
Well, in all, yeah, probably more 15, 20 actually, yeah. But like shipping the cats over and shipping all of their shit over, taking now 4 plane flights back and forth to UK is very expensive. I mean, I have money, but I don't. Shit, man. I wouldn't spend that much money to go to a little meeting of flat earthers, even if I was a flat earther, dude. So, yeah, and their meetings aren't that big. The conference was, I heard on Jaren's video the other day, Robbie or somebody was saying there was 600 or 700 people there, which, by all accounts in those videos, I didn't see 600 or 700 people.
No. Well, I think Chris in Love, she reckons that there was 400 in total. That's the actual absolute.
I wonder. Maybe they sold 600 or 700 tickets, because there's probably a lot of people that bought those tickets to begin with and didn't end up going. I know that Candy Jackie Wallet Franklin had 2 extra tickets that she couldn't get rid of. There were many other tickets that were, proposed. Oh, we got a few tickets if you guys want to go or whatever. A few times within Robbie and all these other people. So there must have been, I would say probably 15, 20, 25% of the people that bought tickets didn't arrive there. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean some of the speakers didn't even go. So
yeah,
they
have
didn't go.
to spend,
Morgile didn't go. So
yeah, they have to spend. You have to spend literally probably about $1,500. Say I'm in Denver and I want to get that thing.
Welcome
I got to
to the
get plane
Flat Earth
flights. I got to get a
Township.
hotel. I got to get the tickets that were $150 to $250. We're looking at, then you got to eat meals and you're now missing work probably. For a lot of people, they spent over $1,000.
Yeah.
Just to go see the same shit they see on Google Hangouts every day. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that was testing the water, truthfully. Seeing how many tickets they could sell. Because really, I mean, if Jaren has 84,000 subs, how hard would it be to get 1,000 of them, 1/84th of those subs, to fill up some conference or whatever? It shouldn't be that hard if they believe in him.
Well, I think there is a problem with the subscribers and obviously there are going to be people who just watch the videos on the internet. There's going to be a certain, but I don't think that they're going to be massive. So, like, looking at how many people actually jump on panels every day, upload videos every day, I think that the numbers of the people that are regularly involved, content providers, people who are prepared to go to conferences, certainly do not represent the collective subscriber count of a lot of the bigger channels. So there's definitely an inconsistency there for me. Like I had an argument in a chat box with Jem Panda a couple of months ago, and he was saying like 10K flat earthers, absolute tops maximum worldwide. And my argument towards that was, well, if you look at just one of the bigger channels, then that doesn't represent 10K. But he then said, oh no, I meant as community members, as in people that are involved regularly. So yeah, there's
but you've
a
been
massive inconsistency there that I didn't see before. And so where are all these people? Where are these hundreds of thousands of people or tens of thousands of people?
Well, you've been in enough chats to know that you see the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like it's just a couple hundred people that come into chat. Of course, there's going to be other people that don't really want to chat. They just want to listen for entertainment or for information or whatever. But I see the same people everywhere. And I think that 150 names probably always everywhere. So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they like to propose that it's growing, all this stuff. But if you really look at the numbers, it seems like the mainstream is trying to push it and it's growing. In fact, a couple months ago, there was a huge decline on Dell's channel, on Mark's channel, on all these people's channels as far as views go comparatively to the months before. So I think that they try to bolster it by saying that it's growing, it's growing, it's growing. I think that it's not.
No. Well, the subs seem to grow, but that doesn't make... Like, when... The thing that I notice is when Globusters has, like, 800 live viewers, or 1,000, or 1,200. I think somewhere normally around about 800 at a minimum. There's like maybe 30 different accounts chatting in the chat boxes.
Yep.
Or maybe it's even 50 different accounts at the very most. That isn't...
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, dude.
No, it doesn't. Like, sure, I mean, maybe there are a small section of people that don't want to participate in a live chat, and they might just hide it or just have it on full screen. Doesn't
add up. Yeah.
No,
but then you go to Dreads the other day and point out the absolute obvious that he came into this just like he did with the One Stop for Gaming, where he bought a bunch of subs, he blew up really quickly, and he used to get a lot more views than he did now. But people have realized that his personality is nothing to look forward to say the least.
Yeah, I was there when he handled some situations really, really badly. In one in particular, when what was his name again? He's about a 15-year-old American lad, friends with Brenda and
Nearbase.
Nearbase, that's it. Yeah, Nearbase came on. Second or third day running that he went on to chat, and he ended up turning this situation about his daughter being disabled or something, or having a health problem or something, right, on this 15-year-old lad as an excuse to just kick him and then rant about him for 5 minutes. And I was just like, the fuck is this?
Yeah, dude. And actually, I remember that.
It was
it's
so
funny
bad.
that you bring that up. It's funny that you bring that up because, I mean, I guess I'm a little biased for the Sphere, but to see a 15-year-old go on there and absolutely smoke him like he did, if I was a flat dude, I would have been like, what the hell is going on here? Because that kid was on top of it, dude. He's a smart kid for his age. Yeah. He really is.
Definitely. He knows his stuff, definitely.
Yeah.
Whether that stuff is correct or not, he certainly knows it, So
yep.
And he was
and
polite.
That's part of the problem, though, is that a lot of people think that they know the spherical heliocentric model, but I've proven that over and over again. You absolutely do not know the spherical model if you do not have any idea about the two celestial points in our star trails over your equator. So people were getting on to me about saying that so much, but it's a test. They have a bunch of litmus tests. Hey, do you believe in 9/11? Hey, do you believe, Well, I have a litmus test in that you're saying that you have debunked the spherical model, and you seem to not know anything about it. You have the Redux version from Eric Dubé in your head, And Eric Dubé, to begin with, was saying that there's one celestial pole. He's never explained the southern celestial pole. We just don't believe it. Just straight up. But,
I mean,
hey, man, I got to get running. I appreciate
I
appreciate chatting with you, and it's not going to be the last time unless you want it to be.
No.
We can go live. We can go live sometime, have a chat. We can do chats like this all the time. I appreciate it, man.
Do well, it's a risky thing doing it live, but
it would, because mostly with me.
I don't know, man. But yeah, it has been nice talking to you, and I do think that I see more eye to eye with you these days than over the past sort of year or so.
Good, man. Good. I feel like you talking to me today, I've gotten the same kind of sentiment from you that I have, in that you see something's going on that's wrong morally, and you want to say something about it. You have an urge to say something about it.
Yeah, I
and
do.
And then you saying, I used to ban people in Globusters all the time, and I mean, you realizing that, it's so awesome, dude, because it happens when there's an echo chamber. And you understand that a lot of strife in their life because of this, with relationships with their family or their friends or their loved ones. And so if you are seeing that there's dishonesty going on, me off even more that this is fucking up people's lives for what seems to be other people charlatans to make money. That's where it even gets even more hardcore for me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no denying it has definitely messed up some people's lives. There's no denying that.
Yeah. It's like, it's all about how it was pitched. If it was pitched not as a flat earth, but hey, we're going to go out and rediscover epistemologically what we can actually know about this whole thing. And, you know, the philosophy would have been different. Not this dogmatic, oh, it's definitely flat and I have to be this us versus them mentality to prove my point. It would be, hey, we're looking at this philosophically. We're trying to prove, you know, why we don't feel ourselves spinning and all this kind of stuff. And I would have loved it, dude. I would have loved it. But it just wasn't pitched that way, you know?
No. You know, there is hope, though, to actually get enough people together to outnumber the others that have turned it into what it is now. There is, honestly, and this is one of the things that keeps me here as well. But you know, I don't want to have any false hope, and I would like to be realistic about that possibility as I possibly can.
Nice. Well, hey, stay true, man.